So little time, so many fences.
They come down so easily. There's a big score working for John Cottle.
That refusal, 3 penalty points.
He's got to go back now and jump the whole combination again. That's the way it is under the rules. They're going to add 8 seconds to his time, whatever his time is. It's going to be a pretty big score, I'm afraid.
John Cottle of New Zealand, a farmer and a contractor back home. Let's replay the last happening.
He was a little bit tight to the first one, so he didn't land very deeply, took a stride, and he was so far away from the second fence that he really had no chance to jump it. And the same thing happens again. They will reset the fence yet again, and he has to try it for the 3rd time. If he gets another refusal, of course, he's eliminated, Chris.
And of course, this shakes up the horse, doesn't it, Bill? He has to settle him down now.
Well, settle him down or crank him up, one or the other. You've got to do something different. I would say you jump up and down, and you hope you get through the 3rd time, but he's just riding really for his own personal satisfaction to finish the course somehow. It turns out that he can't do that. 3 refusals. And the 3rd strike, you're out in this sport, Chris.
Yes, John Cottle of New Zealand, anywhere in the world, Calypso, and Melanie Smith of the United States, Bill. And don't they look alert as they go to the far end of the course now, warming up, getting ready to come back after a disastrous ride and round by John Cottle of New Zealand. All this at Santa Anita. Melanie Smith.
Melanie has a lot of experience. She's not showing the horse any fences, but she's just letting him establish himself in this ring and giving the audience a chance to quiet down a little bit.
We have had no clear rounds. We've had 3 riders with 1 knockdown or 4 falls. Conrad Homfeld of the United States, Heidi Robiani of Switzerland, and Mario Delorier of Canada.
And of course, Melanie hasn't had a fence down yet in this Olympic Games. She only had to ride once in the gold medal winning Nations Cup because as 4th rider, as anchor person, she didn't have to ride. Conrad Homfeld had already secured the gold medal for the United States. But you want to know what kind of class she has? She's been Horse of the Year, Rider of the Year. She's been in the last 4 World Cup finals and never worse than 6th. And she won it in Baltimore. No, she won it in Göteborg.
Touches or rubs do not count. Clear thus far. The Olympic fence, clear. Melanie Smith with the 11-year-old Bay Gelding.
And he's Dutch bred. He is a lucky boy, and the lucky boys can jump.
Melanie says Calypso has more than a fair amount of intelligence.
Oh, boy. She rode very aggressively. You can see what a tiger she is on the course. She really attacks. The nice thing about Melanie is no matter how big the occasion, she's a free swinger. She does her thing.
So pleased with that team gold medal.
Here is this critical 3 combination. This is really the heart of this course. Come on, Calypso.
Oh, through it. Still clear. Now going to number 9, Melanie Smith. It's a very spirited ride. Now the wall. Then the water, Bill.
Yes, he's ordinarily okay at the water.
Oh, the flag goes up.
Gave it to him.
A 4-way tie now.
4-way tie. Melanie still working on a 4-fault round, which would surely qualify her for the 2nd round.
All right, coming to that final fence now, well within the optimum time. So it's a 4-way tie. 2 from the United States, Melanie Smith, Conrad Homfeld, along with Heidi Robiani and Mario Delorier of Canada. Sellout crowd. It has been for months, the final event of the equestrian competition at Santa Anita. We're going to look at that water jump again.
She left out a stride at it, actually, Chris. She was afraid she was going to be late, and she just went too early.
Nevertheless, that will for sure get her into the 2nd round when they take the 25 best out of this field of 51. Melanie Smith. We'll be back. Is there, Ted?
Melanie, you just come out of the ring. I know you're a little tired and a little disappointed. He had a foot in the water. Otherwise, he jumped brilliantly. Tell us about the problem that you had at the water.
He felt wonderful. I just could feel that he was going to go clean, and it's difficult to ride the water off sort of a steady stride. It's a committed distance, and I felt I met it fine. It's just such a big water, just sometimes I lose interest in jumping that far.
Well, he certainly didn't, just missed it by a little bit. What do you anticipate for the second round?
I'll just ride it the same way, but a little extra spur or stick or whatever I can do at the takeoff to try to get him across. He just barely hit the tape. I don't think he even stepped in the water. I mean, he just barely missed it, so I think I can get it the next time.
Melanie, some of the horses look a little tired. He certainly doesn't look like one of them. He looks like he's fit. He looks like he's feeling great. Does he feel good to you?
He does. He's really fit coming into this.
Experienced rider, Bill, for being only 24 years of age.
He sure is, and he's enormously talented, and this is a very, very nice mare. Michael Whitaker already won the King George V Gold Cup in London, one of the most coveted show jumping awards in the world, in 1982. And he jumped a clear round in the Nations Cup in the Olympic Games, don't forget, with this same mare.
His first round only 2 fences down with an 8.
So he's a tough competitor. He's a very, very talented person. Nice build for a rider. He's a little bit better built than his brother John, who is even more famous. His brother John has been the hero of many British victories, both as team and individually.
He would love to go clear, or at least tie with the 5 others who have knocked down only 1 fence each. Holmfeld, Robbiani, Delorier, Smith, and Cadrian of Switzerland.
Yeah, he'll only settle for a clear round. I would say he wants to go back in the second round, obviously, but he's aiming at a clear.
And the second round is the 25 best, 25 lowest scores.
You may just pick up on the screen the funny little thing under her stomach. She's got kind of I'd call it a tummy protector. She folds her legs so tightly that she sometimes hits herself in the stomach, and they have a leather pad there to prevent her from bruising herself with the caulks of her front shoes.
Princess Anne, 3-day eventer at the 76 games in Montreal, and very active here in these games, moving around to do medal presentations.
Oh, boy. Through the hard 3 combination, and she was a foot over C. She jumped that really beautifully.
Princess Anne came here the right day to see a man from Great Britain clear at this point.
Tough line here. Jumps the water cleanly. And now coming to the last line, only 2 more fences to go, and working on a clear. Beautiful jump over 13. He loses his pedal for a second, but gets it right back again. Coming to 14, perfectly attentive. Leaves it up, and it's the first clear round of the day.
In the team competition, 2 clear rounds, helping his team to win the first team gold medal ever. Joe Fargus riding, Bill, here's another mare that we'd love to have. Touch of class.
She really is just super. And Joe Fargus has made such a wonderful combination with her. How would you like to be coming to the individual without having had a fence down in the Olympic Games after the team competition? That sounds as if the Tooth Fairy gave you the right kind of present.
And in team, he was leading off for the United States team. Now he's the 49th rider in a field of 51. Michael Whitaker with the only clear round. There are 5 with 4 faults, including Melanie Smith and Conrad Homefield. Each nation allowed 3 to compete in this, the individual competition, and the final event of the equestrian events here. 2 rounds. This is the first. They will cut the field to the best 25. It'll be a different course.
Different and bigger. And if then they're still tied, there'll be a jump off against the clock. Let's see if Touch of Class is in the same kind of form today that she was in during the Nations Cup. She rubs that. That may help her. That may help her be a little bit tidier in front. If you can bump a fence and not tear it down, it may remind the horse, be a little bit tidier.
Optimum time, 108 seconds.
I think Joe will have no trouble with the time allowed. He asks her to jump in carefully, and she does, and she jumps out beautifully.
Got a rhythm going, so delicate.
He makes a very good move there to reorganize before this big oxer. He's got the rhythm going. She's a little bit careless behind. She's not really bending her hocks the way she can. Will she get away with this combination?
Clear through the triple. Joe Fargas of the United States.
She had a couple of rubs through that combination, but she's still clear.
Now coming to the wall, followed by the water.
So just marvelous control of his nerves. And she jumped 3 feet past the water. All we have to worry about now is this audience response, because the horses can hear it and sometimes it upsets them. A beautiful round in the making.
One more, the 14th. 17th jumping effort for Joe Fargas of the United States. Clear. Still clear.
What a performance.
Like the applause accorded a great artist at Carnegie Hall. They're doing it for Joe Fargas, the first clear round for a United States rider, the second of the competition, the other being Great Britain's Michael Whitaker. Then there are 5 tied with only 4 falls, so 1 knockdown each. Robbiani, Delorier, Melanie Smith, Bruno Cadrian, and Conrad Homfeld. They're still applauding Bill Steincross.
And deservedly so. We saw a real riding lesson.
3 in a row.
And if the course people in the audience want to know how you should ride a big course, and what kind of style you should ride in, that's the winning style.
All right, style and class.
Joe is a big, tall guy. Look how beautifully he folds up in the air. Look how beautifully he carries through when the horse lands. Very, very smooth. He just is a marvelous rider.
16 hands high, but what a heart. Touch of class, and Joe Farguson will be back. There he is with his coach, Frank Chapeau. We'll be back to talk to Joe Fargas after this. Michael Whitaker of Great Britain. Tan Coffin is with Joe right now.
Joe, you've just come out of the ring. I know you're a little tired, but that was a beautiful round. You rode superbly. That's the best I've ever seen you ride. And the mare was brilliant. How did it feel?
I couldn't be any happier. Even if I don't do any better than right now, I couldn't be any happier. I've had my Olympics. I'm really happy with the horse.
Well, she was brilliant. You know, you said the other day that when she's good, and when she's not, she's not. And I think the interesting thing about her here is that she's jumped 3 clear rounds, but even just on that, there's not another horse that's done that.
And I'm so happy with the horse, and I feel privileged to be able to ride it.
Well,
wonderful creature.
Well, you've done a wonderful job on her, and I know the two of you work very well together. Any thoughts on the next round?
I'm just crossing my fingers, finding a lot of wood to knock on.
Well, I hope you find a lot of wood, and we'll knock on it for you too, Joe. Thanks very much for coming by to see us, and good luck.
Thanks, Tad.
Michael Whitaker and Joe Fargas, followed by Homfeld, Robbiani, Delorier, Smith, and Cadrian. 1968, when Roone Arledge, Eleanor Rieger, and I watched you on the first round in Mexico City of individual Grand Prix jumping. As I recall, there were 2 clear rounds, an American and someone from Great Britain. Am I correct?
Exactly the same.
So here we have the same situation in 1984. Joe Fargas of the United States and Michael Whitaker. Does that give them a big edge, would you say, with those big zeros?
Well, what they do is they seed them for the second round. So the 12s will go first, and then the 8s, and they work down to the 4s and the 0s. The 2 clear rounds will go last. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on them. One would hope, in fact, that some of the American riders might be clear in the second course, and that would be Conrad Homfeld with Abdullah and Melanie Smith with Calypso. So,
of course, Bill Steincross went on to win the gold, the only ever for the United States. Well, here at Santa Anita, we'll be back very, very soon with the second round here. Exciting competition, but right now back to the studio and Frank Gifford.